Oh, good evening. Buenas noches. Magandang gabi. I'm Miss Castro, and you guys are in for a treat tonight because the Sci-Fi Corner is having a family movie night. And we've got the usual snacks. Mochi popcorn and a green smoothie. So, are you guys ready for some action, for some adventure, for some romance? Well, all those elements make for a good story, am I right? And there's one story that has captured the hearts of many locals here on Guam. Let's find out what it is, shall we?
Once upon a time, long ago, in our island of Guam, there was a strong Chamorro boy who fell in love with a beautiful Chamorro girl. That's the romance. But their love was forbidden from the start. You see, she was arranged to be married to a Spanish captain. Drama! So they run for the Harmon Cliff line, with the Spanish soldiers and captain closing in on them. And at the edge of the cliff, they tie their long hair together and leap into the ocean, never to be seen again.
Such a tragic love story indeed. But what if we use science to help change their course? Would they have a happy ending?
So come and follow me here at Two Lovers Point, where it all started. As you can see, many people who visit Two Lovers Point are so touched by the story that they purchase a hard lock for themselves and dedicate it to, of course, the person that they love or a family member. And it's all inspired because of this story of true love. As you look around this famous tourist spot, you will see some distinguishable landmarks. Here is a sinkhole, which is 20 stories tall. Why is it there, you ask? How did it happen? Well, let's take a look at how these towering, majestic rock formations change over time. There are many paintings and pictures taken of Two Lovers Point, and it's also found in the Guam flag. Yup, that's Two Lovers Point there. It's a piece of land sticking out more than the others, and that is what's known as a headland. Can you say headland? Good. Powerful wave energy collide against the cliffs, causing erosion. Erosion is the movement of sediments from one place to another. The cliffs are exposed to the strong coastal winds, the pounding waves, and the main cause of erosion, water. There are cliffs like Two Lovers Point found all over the world, and they have all gone through this slow but predictable process of erosion. The waves cause the waters to constantly scratch at the limestone rock face. When that happens, over time it will begin to carve out sediments until it forms a sea cave. The water continues to soften the rock and eventually carve out even more sediments, and the sea cave will turn into a sea arch. Or a sinkhole may form. Yep, like the sinkhole we saw at Two Lovers Point. Going back to the sea arch, these rock formations are immense sculptures shaped by the forces of nature. Beautiful artwork chiseled by wind and water. They become such a fascinating sight to see. Many people flock to these sites to take in these breathtaking, towering structures. And we should enjoy it because they are not permanent. Gradually, the sea arch will break down even more. The arch will collapse and a stack will form. But nature doesn't stop there. Erosion will break the stack even further until all that remains is a stump. This process takes several hundred years. So Earth scientists, known as geologists, predict that this will eventually happen to Two Lovers Point. So let's go over the process again. What will happen to Two Lovers Point in 600 years? Let's see if you can put the erosion process in order. What's the first sign of erosion? You're right, it's a fault. Then next is? Correct, it's a sea cave. The waves eventually soften the rock and this forms. Correct, it's a sea arch. The sea arch is constantly fighting against gravity, so what will eventually happen? Correct, a collapsed arch. After the arch collapses, what is formed? Correct, a stack. But it still doesn't end there. What is the final effect of erosion on a cliff line? Correct, a stump. Awesome job, everyone. So in 600 years, Two Lovers Point will be Two Lovers, you guessed it, Two Lovers Stump. Now, if this process had happened a little more than 100 years ago, then the two lovers may have been able to survive the jump into the ocean, and they could have lived happily ever after. But this wasn't a fairy tale. The legend of the two lovers was a true story, but the original version was revised over time. Sci-fi investigators did some digging up and discovered that a French explorer named Louis de Frechenier wrote about them in 1819. In the original story, the Chamorro man, a Matao, was of higher class status than the pretty young woman who was in Manachan class, lower social status, and most of them were servants, so they were forbidden to marry. No village would accept them, so they fled into the jungle to be together. They had a baby, but it had died. They were so grief-stricken by the loss, and shortly after, they made that infamous jump that led to their tragic fate. Today, this story still touches people's lives, not for the loss, but for their love. What a legendary view! I'm glad we got to discover, explore, respect, and restore. We explored a timeless romantic story. We got to respect the beauty and power of nature. And we also were able to restore the facts about the legend of the two lovers. I'm Miss Castro, and I'm going to go back and enjoy this view. But always remember, love nature and love yourself.